Good morning and welcome to Happy Pets Vet. My name is Dr. Shadi Swanston and I'm the managing veterinarian here at the practice. This is my colleague, Dr. Sasha Neckchuddy, and she will be our resident vet here at Happy Pets. So here at Happy Pets, we offer a wide range of surgical services, which include spays and neuters, laceration repairs, tumor removals, or in case of emergencies, if your animal or dog or cat has been hit by a car, we do offer orthopedic surgeries as well.
We also do dentals, teeth extractions if needed. So all your basic surgical needs we can meet, except for things like your air cropping and heel docking. So we do offer emergency services outside of working hours, and that would involve you calling us, not sending us a message, but calling us. The emergency services are at $100. That is besides the cost of whatever treatment is needed. So if your pet is experiencing shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, seizures, anything that can be deemed an emergency, you can call us outside of working hours and we will guide you as to how you can come into the clinic, at what time, etc.
And in terms of emergency services as well, what we'd also classify as an emergency is, say your dog is having bloody diarrhea, he's vomiting uncontrollably. If he, again, like I said before, being hit by a car and has a broken bone that needs to be stabilized, that is also what we would class as an emergency.
Or any laceration that may be bleeding profusely and you cannot stop it by just applying pressure for 60 seconds.
Okay, so as I am licensed as an MRCVS vet, which means I fall under the governing body of the UK Registration Board, I am not allowed to do any tail cropping or tail docking or ear cropping, which is classed as animal mutilation under the UK laws.
And I personally don't agree with air cropping and tail docking, so both of us do not do those type of surgeries.
Or offer those services.
We will only do things like tail docking and air cropping if the procedure is needed. Let's say the animal has a mass in that area, a severely infected tail or ear that needs to come off, or lacerations in that ear or tail that we need to surgically fix somehow.
So, for example, in terms of having to tail dock an animal that is in dire need of it, we had a case where a dog was in a dog fight and his tail got entirely infected. And even with medication and bandage change, the tail was not getting any better. In terms of that specific situation, that's where tail docking would be acceptable because it's not mutilating, because we're trying to save the animal's life and prevent further infection. In terms of ear cropping, let's take, for example, a cat that has a tumor on his ears, sometimes called a squamous cell carcinoma. Those that are situations where we can easily crop the ear without causing further damage, and it's also helping the animal's health in the long run.
In terms of emergency services, we have seen animals that come in for severely bloated abdomen, and after x-rays and stuff, it was determined that it was something called a GDV, which is a gastrodilation involvulus. Basically, your stomach turns and the gas just keeps building up, and that is an emergency surgery, which we have to go immediately. The owners thankfully called us early and we were able to get to that patient. We've also experienced animals that have been cut, their major arteries severed, and we had to stop that bleeding almost immediately. So those are examples of emergencies.
In terms of emergencies or triage, if you do have a pet that is just experiencing either excessive bleeding or is having vomiting, not eating, there are things, or even if he's been poisoned, for example, there are things that you can do at home before you get to us that will extend your pet's chance of surviving. Having on hand hydrogen peroxide to help with vomiting or to cause vomiting in case of poisoning, to have activated charcoal that you can give them, which absorbs any type of toxins they may have absorbed, having stuff like gauze pads or even cotton that you can use to wrap a wound to prevent further bleeding, or also stuff that you can do at home before you get to us. But we do have a free advice on our WhatsApp, or if you can't get us via WhatsApp, you can always call us 345-0491, and we'll happily give you any information or advice of how you can treat your pet in cases of emergency before you can get to us.
To add to that, if you have a pet that you suspect that has been poisoned, the best thing to do is reach out to us first, because not all poisons you should induce vomiting. And also hydrogen peroxide and activated charcoal are given based on a dose rate. So that means the weight of your pet will equate how much your pet gets. So it's best to call us first before you give anything on your own, but have these things at hand in the event that your pet do ingest a toxin.